afternoon, you all. I just came from Texas, so I've learned how to speak like a true Southie. Yeah. Don't worry, I'm not carrying a gun. So I just came from South by Southwest, and anyone has been there? No? You? How was it?
Was good.
Good?
Crazy, actually.
When was that?
Was 3 years ago.
3 years ago, okay. I don't know about 3 years ago, but right now it's really crazy. I'm still recovering, actually. So it seems that I need to talk about pricing today, so let's get it on. So about me and about the company, so I'm Pedro Fortuna. I'm one of the founders of JScrambler. I'm a technical guy. I mostly enjoy talking about JavaScript and security, often both together. I started working in security field more or less 15 years ago. First, more in the network and system side of security. Then I started doing a few things using JavaScript inside the browser, mostly to detect bots and like behavior analysis, device fingerprinting, things that we pretty much use these days to do our marketing and other stuff. And that's when I met the need to like protect JavaScript and make sure that the JavaScript is not tampered, is not misbehaving in some way. So that's how I got more into the application security side of things, and that's what I have been doing since I started JScrambler. Actually, I started a different company before that called AuditMark. We were doing the auditing and click fraud detection. Then we kind of, out of AuditMark, we spin off JScrambler, started doing JavaScript protection. And that was released more or less in 2010. And in 2014, we actually pivoted the company into JScrambler. So we have been around for, even though the technology is older than that, we have been around for more or less 4 years and a bit. That's what I've been doing. So this is the agenda for what I'm talking about. So it will be mostly about 10 different lessons, if I may call it like that I've learned throughout the way. This is what we do. So this is JavaScript, just a little snippet, and we transform that into something which is harder to read and also tamper resistant. So if you actually try to modify it, it will kind of oppose your action, and it will either break down the code or react in some programmed way, like warning the application owner and providing visibility on each attack that is perpetrated against the code. This is our most recent product, which we call web page integrity. So this one is the code integrity, and this one, which is actually a picture, is not the real product, represents our second product that we released last year, which is called Web Page Integrity. And it's meant to detect when defacing to web pages occur or any type of modification of the web page. For instance, like modifying the page to collect the passwords from users, which can be done by viruses or malicious extensions on many other types of attacks. So starting the talk, that's why you are here for. First, my disclaimer, my talk will be mostly empirical, so if you are here to hear about a theory on pricing, I'm sorry to disappoint you. This is mostly on my experience, my personal experience, and it will be centered on what happened to us while doing this path until the point where we are today. So first, let me stop a little bit and let's discuss together what is pricing. What is your definition of pricing? What do you think? Anyone wants to share a couple of definitions? Just risk it.
The amount the customer pays.
The amount the customer pays, okay. But setting a pricing, a set of policies, what is that? It's not just setting the price.
Designing when a customer pays what.
Exactly. But our intention is to
Setting a value.
set a value, but also to draw the maximum amount of money that we can collect. And that has a strong binding to the value that we are providing to the customer. So the first thing is we need to understand the value, the absolute value that we are providing to the customer and to the different customers, because with time we realize that we have all these different types of customers and they all regard you using a different value. So usually when you start, you will want, probably if you can, to start with the clients that regard you like with the maximum value possible, and that strategy is called creaming, because you start with the creaming on top. Because that, I will be talking a little bit about that later, because that also establishes a reference price point that will be important for all the other segments that don't value as much, but still they will be anchored to the value that you were selling the product before, right? So probably you'll need to do a little discount, maybe segment the features that you're offering, but you have as reference the highest possible pricing that where you started with. Okay. So what's the scope in designing the pricing? Is it just setting the prices, or do you need to think in a more broader fashion about what you're selling? Anyone? Yeah?
The pricing needs to give you profit in the end, but it also needs to value the product. So when you're valuing your product, you need to think about what your customer or what the market will think about your product if that is the price.
Exactly. So two things that you said, it needs to generate profit. So obviously, and that would be my next question as well. Who is responsible for setting the pricing? Actually, a lot of departments do. I mean, the ultimate responsible will be the CEO probably, but he will need to counsel with the accounting department, because they need to make sure that your cost structure will be supported and you have enough margin to generate profit. All right. But the other thing is, you need to think about the products and the value. So you need to work out your positioning. You need to think about what you are offering and to who. So you need to think about the 4 Ps, like price, product, promotion, and place. You need to work the channels, because the channels are also somewhat binded to your cost structure, because you need to pay a partner, or there's the cost of being in a certain channel, right? So you need to. So the short answer to this is, we are not just setting the price, we are setting the offering, the whole offering of the company. We are making sure we are generating profits in the end of the day. So it's very important, and it will involve not only the CEO, which is the ultimate responsible for setting the pricing, but also a lot of departments of the company, like marketing, like sales, product people. Product management is obviously very important, because they have a unique vision on the markets and who are the personas that are buying your products and how they value, what value do you provide for them. All right, so we started out doing like too confident. We started out doing this. So this is actually an older slide that I had. So how to market our JavaScript protection technology? Well, we just say to people that it's the most obfuscation JavaScript the most advanced JavaScript obfuscation on the web. And we were kind of cocky by then, because we just won like a startup prize, the Huracan top 100 startups in Europe. This was back in 2009, 10-ish, more or less. So can you see where this is going wrong? What the hell does that mean? So this was version number 1 of the product. We didn't have designers, disclaimer. Okay? But yeah, but it was in 2010. Could be worse, I guess. Lesson number 1, don't sell to the seller. What this means is, when you create the product, probably you create the product out of your own need. And so you met the need because you need it, okay? But the problem, probably you are going to use too technical language selling the product. If you are like me, you are not even from management or economics. I'm an engineer. So I'm more at ease talking using technical terms. And in the beginning, when you are too naive, you are probably just putting out a too complex message out there. And you also regard other possible customers like a mirror of yourself. So you met the need, you are solving the pain, and you think everyone is like you. But if you are, and I usually call this the innovation problem, and please don't quote me on that, because I think that when you are innovating, when you are solving like a very recent problem or type of problem, a new type of problem, you are an innovator, and you probably won't be able to sell to, you only be able to sell to other innovators, or if you're lucky, to early adopters, okay? But most of the market isn't there yet, so it's too soon. And it happens to most startups because you have a vision on your market. You are solving a new problem using a different approach, and so you are ahead of your time. But the problem is you need to sell to the other guys that are lagging behind. They need time to understand the problem and to feel that pain. Okay, so obviously. To avoid this, you need to avoid using too complex technical language, and you need to understand that you're probably, your market is very thin at this moment. So as version number 2, we put out this page in which we already tried or make an attempt to use a slightly simpler language and think about all the different segments that we are selling to. So we are, people may have like an HTML5 application, and they will go to Google and, hey, I want to protect my HTML5 application. But we are not saying that in the first version. We are just saying like, we protect JavaScript. Okay, but in order for the two to mix, the buyer needs to understand that even though it's an HTML5 application, it's JavaScript that he is using, okay? So we need to use the buyer's language in our website, okay? So we started targeting the segments, at least the ones that were apparent to us. They are not really segments like industries, but they are at least types of applications that we could protect. Lesson number 2, don't give it all away. So, another problem that we met is, in the beginning, we were a bit afraid, like that people wouldn't register an account, wouldn't try our product. So we started plastering the word free throughout the whole website. So it's like a bad taste wallpaper, like free. Okay, so it was a nightmare. So obviously at that time the trend was to do freemium model. So you would offer to a certain extent the features, and then starting from there, you would charge, in our case, using a subscription model. And the initial pricing was set too low because we were considering the competition that was far less sophisticated than what we were offering at that moment. But they were selling per $50 per lifetime. So we thought, okay, $50, that's like the entry price. And we didn't want to do like a one-time sales, but we wanted to have a first initial charge that would be comparable to the price of the competition, even though they shouldn't be compared. But we didn't know that at the time. Actually, we did a mistake because by trying to compare to something which shouldn't be compared to, we were like hurting our image. We shouldn't be doing that at all. But we did that, so we started offering a monthly subscription of $39 because it's $10 less than the competition, even though it's monthly. The competition is one shot. And actually, this is the 1.1 version. We did a 1.0 version in which we were like discounting 50% discounts on the monthly and 70% discount on the yearly subscription. So we were actually at a certain point selling a monthly subscription of JScrambler by $19.99. Okay, this is it's funny if you see our prices today. Of course, technology has evolved, added many things, but it's still funny. So yeah, so obviously we thought that we were selling cheap, but at the same time this is going to scale. It's going to scale, we are going to sell a lot, so it doesn't matter because let's scale. But at this moment we didn't know lesson number one, okay? And we were innovating, so the market was very tiny, so that it was impossible to scale at that time. So this is our pricing version number 2. So instead of a pure freemium model, we have 3 plans called Starter, Mobile, and HTML5 Gaming. And there was some concerns regarding the value that we were charging. So if you look closely, you can see 35, 55, 65. It's actually easy to remember. Okay, this is one thing that you will want for your pricing. It's easy to remember. People don't want to be checking your pricing page all the time because that's irritating. I mean, who wants to go check the prices all the time, like remembering that you need to pay, remembering. No, you want to decide that one time, and after you decide, you don't want to think about that, otherwise you're going to cry all the time, like me. And other things that we cared about was not showing the lowest possible value in the pricing. So instead of showing like the yearly amount that you will pay, and in some cases, so at that moment, or the previous version, you could pay monthly or yearly, right? But we would always show you the monthly value because it's lower, right? And it's the same here. But there's another slight modification that we did at this moment, which was we ended offering the monthly. We started offering only the quarterly and the yearly. And that move alone almost more than doubled our revenue at that moment. Because it was the first time that we understood that our product and the value that it offers is not constant, okay? People want to protect their applications when they are releasing the product. When they are developing the product, they don't care about you. So why should they maintain a subscription? And at that moment, People, like, it's not like today that you may deploy an application every day. In 2010, you probably only deploy once a month or once every 3 months. That wasn't unusual at that time. So the stickiness for the products is the pain present every day or not? Do your customers need you every day, like a CRM? CRM, the pain is a daily pain. Every day they need to access the CRM, put new leads there, so they don't have a stickiness problem. But we did. So that's why we chose to end up the monthly subscription and only have a quarterly. If I could tell you how many support tickets we got, like people complaining because they wanted to stay as a monthly. But the difference is when we did monthly, people complained like, I want to pay per protection. I don't want to pay monthly. That's absurd. You're stupid. And then when we changed to quarterly, people didn't complain about that. They complained about, I want to pay monthly. I don't want to pay quarterly. That's absurd. It's stupid. Okay, so that could be a lesson learned as well. So it's people will always complain, and the audience will change actually. So when you get too expensive for a certain audience, that audience will no longer send you tickets. The next audience will come to you, and the next audience will complain about something else, something different, a new pain for them, right? So don't be too afraid of changing the prices if you think it's the best for your company. People will complain. Probably that will have a positive effect in your audience because you will get different types of customers. And if you really increase your prices, then you start seeing like the more enterprise-ish types of companies, and they are no longer concerned about the price altogether. They are concerned about, will you be here tomorrow? Can I count on you? What kind of support do you give, right? Where are you based? All right, let me speed this up because I'm taking too much time. Okay, lesson number 3, don't assume mass market. So I already talked a little bit about this. So in the beginning, setting the prices, don't set the prices too low, assuming that you're going to scale. So the questions that you need to do is how your prices scale. They scale because you get more customers. They scale because you are capturing different tiers of value from different customers. And some customers are paying way more than like the cheaper, like the less budgeted clients that you have. And a question that I like very much is how many clients do you need in order to reach $1 million US? Okay, and let's say it's 5,000 clients. Okay, think about that for a moment. What sort of structure do you have to onboard 5,000 customers? What sort of costs do you have? And that's a point where you will want to think about whether you are chasing rabbits or you are chasing elephants, right? And this needs to be think upfront because you need to set the pricing policy based in this scaling strategy, right? Make sense? What's your tangible addressable market? Don't say it's like the whole internet and a couple of people on Mars. No, you need to, even though I'm an entrepreneur, and we all like kind of count on like convincing everyone in the universe that your product is really great. But in the end of the day, it's about the pain. You are either solving someone's pain or not. If you are not solving someone's pain, even though they like you, they won't spend any money in your product. So think about what's your actual TAM, what's the addressable market. And remember lesson number 1, You are an innovator, so probably the pain is not visible or present for most people. So really understand the pain and value that you are providing at a certain point. Lesson number 4, bundling is your friend. This is very important for pricing. Obviously, customers will want to use pay as you go or something like that. And probably you will want to use some sort of subscription. You talked about the pingadeira, né? Pinga. That's very important because you need to assure that if you do a good job today, you will keep being rewarded for that good job, right? But when you do a one-time sale, that guy will never come back. What sort of job do you have that won't reward you by having a good interaction with the customer? That's not good for you, okay? And people are more or less used to doing subscription-based purchases these days. So just develop your pricing using this type of approach. And when you are designing the subscription, make sure that you are doing some bundling, okay? So in this case, our pricing version 2, each subscription plan includes everything from the previous plans. Okay, so the HTML5 gaming includes everything from the mobile, which includes everything from the starter plan. Actually, I'm not happy about this for many reasons. One of which is the guys that are buying the protection to protect a game won't necessarily be interested in protecting them for mobile. So it doesn't make a lot of sense, and we struggled to get some sort of recipe for selling the product like this, but it was the first approach, and then we changed it. Also because it's too constraining, because you'll have new features, and probably you will develop high value features that you want to put in the HTML5 gaming plan. But you might be concerned that it doesn't make sense for a gaming company to have those features. So it's it's not flexible enough. So you are better off just using abstract names as plans, and it will give you freedom to move things around and experiment. All right. There's another reason why I don't like this, but I will talk about that later on. I told you about the stickiness already, so be sure that your subscriptions protect you from churn, from people leaving because at that moment they are not using the product, right? So watch closely your churn, and because that will be closely tied to the success of your pricing strategy. Use price psychology. Okay, most of you already know about this, so already know that people, even though it's too silly, but people, they are attracted to price psychology. I'm referring actually to more sophisticated things. For instance, this is pricing number 3, and anyone can spot a huge difference to the last one? The number of plans. Yes and no. Yes, you don't see a free plan, a trial plan there, but I'm not referring to that difference.
Price has increased.
The price increase. Which one?
Ultimate.
It's the ultimate. So what's the problem with this one? Apart from being cheaper, of course.
There's one that is too close to the price.
It's too close. So you would lean towards which plan in this case? Not the middle one. The starter, because it's like a $20 difference to the second one, and it's only a $10 difference to the last one. So you're not your policy, your pricing strategy is not favoring buying the middle one. Actually, it's considered to be best practice to optimize prices for the middleman, and I will tell you why. So in this case, the difference is the same, it's $20, but we increased the 65 to 95. So right now, you look at that and you think, all right, so probably I just need the starter, but I spent $20 more and I get like the professional features, right? And the last one is much more expensive. So okay, I'm between the starter and the professional. Okay, and a few of them will end up buying the professional. Okay, so it's optimized to the middle tier. Also, you may notice that the names of the plans have changed. They are no longer tied to the type of application that you want to protect. Okay. Another thing regarding price psychology is we made sure that we weren't publishing numbers, three-digit numbers. So even the most expensive plan is only 95, is below $100. Okay, this was intentional. Okay, because it's a price threshold which is psychological. Okay, if you pay more than $100 a month, then it enters the category where you probably will think more about that, whereas the $50 or even the $99 barrier, probably you will not spend as much time thinking about that and will end up subscribing. And in our case, we are a security startup, so actually, when we increase, each time that we increase prices, our sales increase, not because of the increased prices, because we keep selling. Because security, like health, the perceived value of what you are offering has a lot to do with the price. Okay, if you go to a pharmacy and you buy some product that is only like 50 cents, maybe you are like, okay, this is not going to do anything, like maybe it's a placebo. Or if you go to the doctor, where like the building with problems, like it needs repairs and there's no one in the reception to receive you. So you'll think that probably the service that you will have will not be very good, right? It's the same with security. You need all the show around it. If you think it's expensive, probably it's good, okay? So there's a price psychology around that. So each time that we increase the price, we sell more. We sell more to more customers and higher prices. All right, lesson number 6, keep it simple. So it's very important that your pricing is easy to follow, is easy to understand. You need to make it as simple as possible, right? Because as soon as people get confused about your pricing, they will be tempted to leave your website and never come back again, right? So this would be a somewhat complex example. So I don't feel I don't feel comfortable looking at this pricing right now. So we used to do this. This pricing has at least 5 years. And it's, in some ways, we went back in some of the good things that we were doing. Like, there's 2 values there, okay? So there's the annual price and there's the quarterly price. You don't need that, all right? Just publish the most, the cheaper one, right? And have in smaller letters the other variation. Then we have things that people don't understand what it is, like files per project. What is a project anyway? Is it an application? I don't know. What if my application has like the front end and the back end? Are those 2 projects or 1 project? Where can I find the definition of project, right? Too many questions. I don't like it. Application modes. What the hell is that? Okay, starter, start on mobile HTML5. All right, maybe I have a clue, but I'm not sure what this is including. Support, I can understand, right? But this could be improved greatly. So you have to minimize options. You have to focus on the differentiating factors between plans. You have to point the client in the right direction, which we are kind of doing because we are highlighting a combination, which is the professional and the quarterly. Okay, has the way to go, but we could improve that as well. And we have clear call to action buttons. So you have the try of the trial plan. We have the buy for each and one of those. All right, so that part is not bad. Then we have version 3.5, which is much better than the previous one. For one, the professional plan is clearly highlighted as the most popular plan, and it's the one that you can try. You cannot try the other plans. All right, so we removed one of the columns by just leveraging the fact that you can either try the professional or buy the professional. Okay, and we removed some of the clutter from the table, so it has more or less the same information, but it's less cluttered, and it focuses on the features that clearly differentiate the plans, right? And also signals which features are new, which also provides the idea that the products are evolving. This is 3.6. The free plan came back because people would ask us, hey, I don't want to try the professional. I want to try the ultimate. So that was a barrier because people would need to reach support for that, and each time that someone needs to reach support, some of them will never do. So it's a barrier, and you are leaking clients. So we got back the free plan, and we just restyled the whole thing. There's nothing more than that. Sorry, the trial. I forgot. So the free trial stays in the professional, but we have a free plan right now at this moment. So people were concerned about. So we wanted to gather more users, even those that will never want to pay for the product, because we want to convince them later that it's good for them to buy the product. Version 3.8, just a few, so it's only a few months between these versions, so we don't have significant alterations between these versions. But it's a little bit more neat, and again, the professional is being highlighted. Version 4.0. Okay, so this one is it's a little bit different from the previous one. So for starters, we started including a sentence that describes the package, the plan. So we tried to do as short as possible, this sentence. Maybe you could do better than that, actually. But that was the plan. The plan was to describe the plan, because probably most people will only read the name of the plan, the description, the short description, and then look at price, right? The other things won't matter to him, at least to start the hostilities. Another thing that we started using is short words that summarize the value that is provided by the plan. So the first one is conceal, the other one is conceal plus defend plus detect, the ultimate as well, and we have a new plan called enterprise, because that's when we started selling to elephants, really. That has a new type of feature called React, okay? So each one of these has limitations because we were struggling with segmenting plans to the pains that we are solving. Okay, so at this moment, we were like once again assuming that the client needs more than he really needs. Okay, so most customers would be actually satisfied with the first or two plans, and more than that would be they cannot even grasp what they are getting from that moment after, because we were too soon in the market. We were innovating, we were solving a new type of pain, and most of the market is still like trying to solve all the like 10-year-old problems, that insecurity that you already had. Lesson number 7, localized prices don't work because it's too easy for the customer to spot that and go around it. Okay, so if you want to do a price in Asia different that you want to do in Europe or in US, they will quickly find out that it's less expensive to buy in a certain region, and they will quickly go after that price. So it happened to us. So these two tables in the middle section of the slide are the prices in US dollars and in euros. Obviously already deobfuscated, so you can look at the prices, okay? And this one is the top table translated using the conversion US to euro. So they quickly find out that it was like preferable to buy in US dollars. So we started seeing all the European companies just buying in dollars, because it was less expensive. But we still don't have a good solution for this, so it's a good practice to have reference prices in one coin. Just need to choose it, and it's like gambling, right? So in the last 2 years, we lost a whole lot of money because our reference prices are in US dollars. So the value of the coin has dropped compared with the European. And now we have a bank account full of US dollars that we are waiting for the currency the US dollars to grow a little bit more. So customers do the math. Try to be as transparent as possible in terms of price, because also it's easy for this to get out. So people will know about this pretty quickly, and they can be angry at you, especially if you do enterprise sales. So in enterprise sales, you probably are not like publishing the values in the website. But if you are selling the same thing for, let's say, $10,000, and you are trying to sell the same thing to another client for 100,000, I wouldn't advise you to do that, because sooner or later the word will come out, and you will lose credibility, right? So try to have transparency in the sense that there's a clear equation for calculating the amount that you are charging to the customer, and try to stick to it. Okay, you can do a discount, but you need to have the overall math worked out. Lesson number 8: clients are unsophisticated. I already talked a little bit about this. So the thing is, we just realized that most customers were using like the default settings. They were happy with like the starter plan, and we often go to sales calls and doing demos, and we find that some customers are happy with other products that are free, that don't even protect the codes, but they think they do. Okay, so they don't understand the technology. and you are working against the perception of the technology. Okay, so it's like two distinct realities where you do the technology and you know everything about it, but the customer doesn't know probably nothing on it and will jump to a lot of different conclusions, and you have to fight that. Okay, so we do a lot of content marketing, we do a lot of education, we go out and we are speakers in a lot of conferences, and we provide like content like how not to shoot yourself in the foot if you're using other products or that can provide you, it can put you in trouble. So they are usually satisfied with little features to a short amount of features, and they don't care about your hot new feature that you just released. So I like to think this is especially true for technology-based products. Okay, not necessarily true for other segments. So please take your own medicine on this. So don't apply this directly to your own product. But I like to think that 20% of the features satisfy 80% of the customers. Okay, and it's healthy if you think like this, because it will help you when you are designing your pricing strategy. Don't think, it's like lesson number 1, don't sell to the seller, right? So don't think the client is like you and will value like the strongest features that you have, and segments like in those 20% of features, like the basic features, you need to segment those. You cannot put all of those 20% features in one plan. Otherwise, probably you'll only sell that plan, right? And you can see the pricing version 5, and you can see that the middle plan was increased to 85, and the ultimate was increased to 255 per month when paid yearly. The thing is, you still have that effect of, okay, so the middle plan is just like a few dollars more, and I will have those features. But the 255 is too far, so I probably can skip that one. But yeah.
It was not clear to me. Why do you highlight the professional?
Why do I highlight the professional?
Because you could sell the ultimate by 250.
The only reason why you want to have an ultimate is just to sell the professional. It's the single reason why you should have an ultimate, because you will always need like a plan to make people think that, okay, I was reasonable, I didn't went overboard, I didn't buy the most expensive one, I buy the middle one. No, I was thoughtful. I'm sparing some money to my company. No. Okay, that's the only reason why you will want to have the ultimate, is to make people buy the professional. Okay, it's price psychology again.
Also, why have you did you choose to finish the prices with 5 instead of 9? 85, not 89.
I like the number 5. And again, the 99 just seems to me like...
There's no Mambo 99.
Yeah, the 99 people, oh, okay, they are like removing one just to trick me. No, I won't fall for that. So I will remove 5. Okay, there's not a strong reason for doing that. But remember, the third plan also has another motivation for having it, which is there are people that will always want the best. There are a few people, just like 5%, 3% maybe, will always want the best. No matter how much you charge, it doesn't matter. They want the best, okay? So you better have a plan for them, right? Because otherwise they would pay like $1,000 and you are just charging 85, right? So leverage that. Just make it really expensive. Okay, because people will want that. Yeah.
How often were these prices changed?
Not too much actually, because you have seen it. Most of the changes I have shown you, and you remember that the first one was we started with 39 for the freemium, and then we went to the 39, 50, 55, and 65. And if you remember, the starter it's still 35. But in the 5th version, we changed this a little bit, and so we didn't change it too often. What we change more is the features, actually. The segmentation, we needed to work a lot with the segmentation. For instance, in this case, so in the previous version, let me go back a little bit. You have self-defending capabilities, which is like the most advanced feature in code protection. It was available in the professional. Why? Because we were optimizing to sell the professional. If we were to leave out like our most important feature of the plan that we intend to sell, it would be a little bit silly, and we wanted to sell more of that middle plan, right? But then the Pareto rule, like the 20% features satisfy 80%, we start understanding that maybe we shouldn't do that. So the self-defending is only in the ultimate right now. Okay?
When I meant pricing, I meant really changing
the whole
design.
thing?
Yes. Annually?
More than annually. More than annually. It depends. Every version, we are not regular on how many versions we release. So each time that we release a new version, it's an opportunity to think about like changing stuff. We always do one thing, which is we make sure that the people who bought before, they maintain the same perks, okay? So if you already have a subscription, doesn't matter, we will honor that plan. And it's actually good because it's a barrier to exit. So it will benefit your churn.
But if
Because
you, sorry.
Yeah.
If you launch new features, will you grandfather your customers? Like
If they will have access to the features?
For the same price as before?
Yeah. If it ends up in the plan that they are, yeah, they will benefit from those features. Because that's the benefit of having a subscription, right? We keep paying because we are updating the product, right? If we don't update the product, it's like it's best to do a one shot, right?
So you never do upselling?
We do upselling, so our sales team tries to upsell, tries to push things. But since the version, let me see, 4.0, we are really pushing. So we are transitioning to a company that will, most of the time, will do enterprise sales. Okay, so we started out as a SaaS company. We are still a SaaS company, but as we like grow the company, we realize that why sell for 3,000 a year when you can like sell for 100? Okay, so we started this movement of shrinking down the plans, having less features, and things that we do, like new features that we do, only go to the enterprise plan. And I will show you the final stage. It's interesting. I will talk a little bit more about that. So yeah, get segmentation right. That's very important for your sales. Otherwise, you only sell the starter plan. Price anchoring, lesson number 9. My first question is, do you have a plan for 1 million a year per customer? Because you should. If there's a big enough pain that you're solving, you should have a plan. And we did this mistake. We sold to Samsung $3,000 a year because we didn't have a higher price. Stupid, right? So you need to work out your pricing strategy. You need to make sure, just ask yourself, do you have a $1 million per year plan? Because you should. Because one of these days, Samsung or any other company is showing up, and you won't. It won't be fun if you're just like getting $1,000 from them. So have a price for everyone, for every pocket size. Also have a land grab and expand strategy, which is we hear more about this in the enterprise world, enterprise sales, which is have a pricing that evolves, that has like the segmentation scales as the client uses your product more. Okay, so for instance, we got to deal with Electronic Arts, a certain department of Electronic Arts protecting HTML5 games, and we got a deal which was like not crazy high in terms of dollar amount. It was just a few thousand, tens of thousands of dollars, but it was locked to 15 apps. And we knew by then that they had a portfolio over 100. Okay, so first we did the vendor lock-in because they, as soon as we are in and they are using JScrambler, if it works out great, they will need to review the licensing and pay us more. So that's the land. It's just getting there first, making sure your pricing works and it scales with the value that you are providing. Then the grab, which is making sure that the experience works out okay. So no major hiccups, the technology is working, good experience for your customer. And then you have the expand, which is just target other departments in the company or just increase the licensing due to the increased utilization of the product. So you need to work on this as well. I don't have a slide with our enterprise pricing strategy actually, because that's too secret. But I can tell you that please make sure that you have locks, well-defined locks, because if they increase the utilization, the price needs to grow as well. I need to think about the value that you are, I need to watch out for the time as well. You need to think about the value that you are bringing to the table. How can you bring more value? How is this growing? In our case, it's the number of applications that we are protecting. So it's easy to think about that. But of course, it only works because the customers have more than one application. They may have hundreds, they may have 200 applications. But also the number of times that they will protect an application. That's also a variable for us. So if they protect the application daily, they will pay more than someone who only protects an application once a month. For the second product that we have, the web page integrity that I just briefly told you about, the pricing is per end user being protected. So it scales pretty nice because if, let's say, an online bank has 6 million customers, then we'll probably earn a lot of money on that licensing deal. Okay, but price anchoring is real. So the problem for us was the SaaS plan was always anchoring us down to a certain radius of value, the $2,000, $3,000 US, and this is a big problem for us because we are aiming to do 7-figure deals with companies, and they are all of them could go to our website and see the more expensive plan just costs $3,000 a year or $3,500 a year, and remember the customer is not sophisticated, so probably the features in the SaaS plan are good enough for them, but we tell them no, but you cannot have the SaaS because in our licensing terms you are too big of a company and you need special features and special attention, we need consulting hours, and need this and that, and they feel kind of trapped, right? They feel like locked out of the SaaS plans, and it's not a good feeling for them. So you need to watch out about this as well. In our case, in our latest version that I will show you in a second, we got rid of the anchoring effect. At least we are trying to. We are walking towards that. So we have this tension between the SaaS pricing and the enterprise pricing.
So does the on-premise versus cloud solve you that problem?
No, the enterprise is always on-prem. So it's okay. Some of the customers will want to have on-prem as like they don't accept the cloud version at all. But you cannot justify like 100x increase in price just because it's on-prem. So it's too much. It needs to be more than that.
What's your take on SaaS not having pricing pages? Like Climber, we don't have pricing page.
My take is I'm starting to doing that. Even a little bit more than that. I will show you in a second. So you need to decide. Okay, I will manage in 5 minutes, I think. Just finishing. So you need to decide if you want to do SaaS or you want to do enterprise. And if you want to do enterprise, maybe the SaaS will be hurt, and that's okay, because if you are getting enough revenue from the enterprise sales, that's an option. But don't do SaaS in a way that you want to do enterprise as well. So you need to watch out. What do you want for dinner? You are chasing rabbits or elephants? Do you want to scale the SaaS sales or the elephant? For us, it's pretty obvious right now, because what we are doing is, in the space of application security, is so ahead that we will never have mass markets in order to scale rabbits. It's simply not attainable for us, might be for you. So for us, the direction is clear. We want to chase elephants, and we have been doing that. And it was the first elephants that we got, we didn't charge as much, although it was much higher than the SaaS. But they are like vital to get the other ones. Like I go to a meeting, I say that I have Netflix, that we are the guys that protect the streaming engine in the web. Like no one else is doing that, just us, right? And instant credibility. Like we work with eBay, we work with these companies, instant credibility. It really pays off to try, even discount the prices, work your ass off, like Paulo does. Like he does work for free because he wants to have the right connections, to have the right opportunities. You should do that to have your first reference customers. This is the last version of our pricing. It's going online on Monday. What we are doing is we now have one SaaS plan published in the website called Professional. Okay, and it doesn't have the price unless you register an account and log in, and then you have a price. And the price right now is $255, which is used to be the most expensive SaaS plan. Okay, so now it's the only one which is available, kind of. Then we have an enterprise plan, which corresponds to the one that we have. But now that we have a different product which provides real-time visibility on threats against the application, to the code, and to the web page, we have an enterprise real-time. Okay, so this is good actually, because we had some problem, like providing one picture of what we do. So we had two pricings, just to be confusing. Okay, now we have one pricing, and it scales up nicely. So you have the SaaS, you have the enterprise, which doesn't have any real-time features, which we know that we have validated our clients want. So it's not part of the features that no one cares about. They really care about that. And the ultimate trick is this thing here. Are you a startup? Then you have this plan. You have this $85 plan. It's intentionally separated in a different page and is intentionally called startup plan, because no SME and certainly no elephant will qualify to buy that plan. So the only plan that they have possibly right now is the $255, which still anchors down the price, but this is a middle step. So our plan is in a month time, so we will measure the effect on doing this price, and in a month time, 2 months time, we are stripping out the professional plan.
Do they need to register to assess the price of the startup?
No, it's the only one which is clearly available, but clearly separate, in a separate page. Okay, so this was a nice hack.
What are the restrictions with respect to
You need to be a startup.
How do you...
You need to get in touch and tell us who you are, and we will qualify you, and we'll see if you can have the startup plan. So this is good to remove the anchoring effect, but we still have the anchoring from the professional, right? So, and we intend to remove that as well, but we want to take it like in a few middle steps. All right, lesson number 10 and last one. I'm closing down. This is practically my last slide. Do it all over again. So iterate often, measure, adjust your pricing strategy, new goals. How much money do you want to achieve? New segments that you are targeting, new types of sales. You need to. This is a work in progress always. Okay, because the market is changing. In 2010, people didn't even knew what JavaScript protection is, and today you have different audiences. Okay, so you need to iterate it. So this is a recap. I don't have time, so I'm just like blazing through it. Okay, if you have epilepsy, just watch out. Okay, pricing 5 and 5 pints. Last acknowledgements, archive.org, really useful for doing this talk, and thank you very much, everyone, if you have questions.
We are already behind schedule, but we do have time for like 1-2 questions to close down. Okay.
Do you think you have, so you are now hunting elephants, right? And you have like this evolution on your pricing. Do you think where you are now is because you went through all these steps before, or you could sometime in the past made a different strategic definition or decision that will put you where you are today?
Actually, a very good question. It's not simple to answer that, because I really believe that we are where we are because we started as a SaaS. Even though it's like, you can like look in the past and think like it was not optimal because there was no market and we weren't getting enough value from the market. So we should start as an enterprise, right? But we only are where we are because we started as a SaaS. That had a huge effect in the technology because we needed to support every type of application. And when we are doing like enterprise since day one, you only care about working for that client. So, and really that's a huge barrier to competitors because we are very compliant. We work everywhere, every browser, every type of JavaScript library. It's very hard for someone to get into this market and attain the same level of maturity of the technology. And we only have that because we started out as a SaaS. Okay, there were like more advantages, but maybe it's best to talk in the interval also.
Commenting on what Philippe asked, we see a lot of startups doing that path, right? Like Talkdesk who's doing this and so on. So starting on a typical SaaS off the shelf and then going to big bucks, going to big customers and so on. You don't think like this, like product-wise is the same thing. So at the beginning you could not sell to enterprise because your product was not strong enough, let's say, to build on the level of a Netflix or EA or something like this.
Yeah, that's another advantage. Most of the elephants that we have, they came to us.
Okay. On the SaaS?
On the website. Doesn't matter. So they came to us. They wanted the enterprise version, but they came to us. And they came to us because we were like considered to be the standard. And in order to be considered the standard, you need to be considered the standard by everyone, right? You need to be talked about in the web. They go to Stack Overflow, they find like posts on JScrumware all over. So that keeps happening. Even this week I have a meeting with the NHS, the National Health System in the UK, the largest employer in the world after the Chinese army. They saw it on Stack Overflow. So it's most of the time it pays off. It ends up paying off. And in the beginning you are not selling to the SaaS that much, but probably you won't sell to the enterprise that much as well. So you need you are an innovator, you are solving tomorrow's problems. So maybe it's more value to you and to your path to work on the technology and make it mature and prepare for that curve where like the other guys, not the early adopters, but the next guys will come and try to buy your product.
So if there is no other questions, thank you, Pedro.
Thank you.